What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Atlas Project. I am Chris.
My name is Chris as well.
And today we have our first interviewee, and that is...
Seth Loewe.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome.
Why, thank you guys.
This is fun.
I
I'm very excited. Chris, I think you're more excited because...
We got the homie.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. Chris, do you want to start off with a little, Q&A for him? Or?
I'm going to ask you the simplest question ever. Who are you?
Let the people know.
Let the people know.
Well, I am Seth, in case nobody caught that in the first
Yeah.
thing. What am I? What do you want to know about me?
What do you do? Like, what are you like? What is your passion? What is like? What do you do on a day to day basis?
Yeah. What is your career field?
Okay, so I am an artiste, but I do interior design, finish work contracting is what I call it. Lots of other ventures to come, though. That's the plan.
Are you not able to talk about those? Is that under wraps?
No.
Then what is it?
Nothing's under wraps. Well, no. I am always a work in progress,
Right.
as we all are, of course. But that's when I introduce myself. It's always kind of like I feel like I have trouble sometimes standing behind my title with confidence, and I don't know why that is. But it's like, well, maybe that's because I'm always like, well, I'm figuring out what those next steps are going to be. But right now, that is who I am. That is what I identify with.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need a title, or do you feel like you can just be you?
Maybe it's because my interests are so broad. I have a very, I dabble in a lot of everything. So it's like, yeah, it's
hard to pinpoint. I feel it.
It is.
It's hard to own up to any one specific thing
Right.
now.
But, okay.
Sometimes I'm envious of that though. Like, cause like Chris and I, it's like, we're a photographer, a videographer, whichever one you want to go with.
Right.
And then, if I feel like we're almost in a box, like that's all we are,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I feel like with you have so many different talents that it's like super cool to be able to just...
You're like Kanye, and we're just like...
Kim.
We're okay with being in a box. No, but...
Totally.
So, is there anything you're leaning or you're currently experimenting more towards? Like, is it your makeup? Or is it your construction?
So currently where I stand, I realize that basically I've built, starting at like 17 or even before that, I've kind of built my career to where I am today, to what people know me as today, off of, a lot of manual labor, a lot of, hands-on. I design things, but I also build things. And it's very like construction-y based. And then through some self-exploration in the past months, I feel like I realized I still enjoy that. I really want to start turning things more towards maybe the interior design side of things that I say that I do. That's probably why I have a little bit of an identity crisis, because it's like I say I do interior design, but like that's what I do the least of.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
That's what I want to do more of.
Right.
And when I've built this, reputation off of building things, creating things, that's what I keep getting, client, a lot of my, client interest comes for those kinds of things. Right. So
do you find more enjoyment in the building part or like the finding, like looking for certain items?
I kind of like the process.
Right.
Yeah. It's the hunt.
Do you have any like specific places you usually go to, or is that like
besides dumpsters?
Well, like where do you usually find everything? Just literally random places.
It literally can be anywhere from, online, Facebook, to running across something. I've like one time on like the back roads, like Peabody Road, I like was driving and like I saw something laying like on the side of the road and I was like, oh, I'm gonna turn around when I come home. I was actually going to your place and then I like pick it up on the way home.
And then you make money.
My mind's always working.
So what you're saying is, if I see something on the side of the road and I'm like, Seth would want that, you want me to hit you up?
Dude,
yes.
I did that one. I did that one time. I like saw something right outside near my house, and then I texted you a photo. I was like, "Hey, like, do you think you would want this?" And,
correct.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like I feel like it's like, Chris, you don't have those. What is that? That's super. Like, I would never use that.
No, but that's the thing, because it's like sometimes it is what it is at face value, and it doesn't have a lot of potential. And other times I'm like, oh, that can be totally like cut apart, taken apart, or something can be added to it, and it can be something totally custom and unique again.
How do you see it? Like, where does this vision come from?
Sorry, I was gonna try to say something sarcastic.
Do it.
But I don't know. I get like an initial, usually it's like an initial like image comes to mind or an inspiration, and then like I sit on it for a minute. Like I guess kind of let it like just simmer in my head,
Right.
and that's how I am with a lot of things. It's like it starts as like a little concept,
Right.
and whether we're talking about like a project or a big idea or a big plan or whatever, and then it's like then I get oh, it's like kind of like that. These little like sparks kind of shoot off, and I get these little ideas, and then I have to try and like hone it down to like one thing again.
Right.
It's kind of like how editing is. You film something, and then when you start editing it, more ideas pop in, and it becomes a flow, which is cool.
For sure. Yeah.
Dang it! I had a question and I lost it.
It flew away.
I'm gonna ask this deep question. Me and Seth were talking. What was it? Like it was like a month ago or so, and I was like, I have a question, but I'm gonna save it for this podcast.
Here we go.
And what the question is, as a talented artist like yourself, why do you throw yourself under the bus so much? Do you remember? Did I ask you that, or did I save that?
You saved that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this in loopholes in the past.
Because this man, he's like, he did our stuff for the wedding fair, even for my bedroom, for like Jules's dance studio, and every time I'm like, dude, you're dope. It's more of like, I just dabble. No, it's like, dude, you got it.
I got you. That is a struggle. It's a confidence thing, and I don't necessarily know the answer to that completely in the moment. I think what it is I don't know. It's like you maybe it's basing it off of other people, the interactions with other people I've had, where people sometimes are a little too cocky with their confidence, and I don't want to be that person. But sometimes then it's like I downplay it so much where it's like there's no confidence.
Yeah.
So it's like because I am confident what I do. I enjoy what I do. I know I do good work, and it's quality to where I am right now with my skills and abilities. And but why do I not just go? Yeah,
I could see it as becoming try to be humble, but then just taking it way too far to where you're not even believing in yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's almost like the faking it till you make it, but it's like I'm tired of going that route because I'm starting not to even believe it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always feel like when somebody's like, "Oh, that was really good," or it was more like a personal like face-to-face conversations when somebody says like, "Oh, you're really good at it," I just get really awkward. I'm like, no, like stop. I don't know how to respond. You know.
You know what it is? And we can all relate to this, I know, because you both have mentioned it, but we are all our own worst critics, our own work and our own craft. Mm-hmm. So it's like maybe somebody sees like it, and they see it's perfection or it's great, but like we notice all those little unfinished things, those little things we could have done better or different. So it's hard to feel like we always want to put our like stamp of like approval on something because we're like, no, but there's X, Y, and Z that's not right. Yeah. But that's because we're creative, we're artists, and we're seeing it in all these different angles.
So have you given a piece to a client, or even if it was a friend, and the friend or the client is like, oh my gosh, this was great, but as you're giving it, you're like, there's that issue and that, not necessarily an issue, but something that you're not fully happy with but they're happy with?
Yeah, no, totally. I'll be like presenting something or like, a reveal or something, to a client. And like, I'm almost cringing as I'm like bringing it in or like setting it up or whatever. Cause I'm
That's so crazy.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, and then but why? Cause then I never have gotten a response that should make me feel otherwise. I mean, or some sort of traumatic response, maybe somebody wants something tweaked a little bit, but
I feel like that's how you guys are both perfectionists. I feel like I want to be like that sometimes, but sometimes it's easy for me to be like, it's dope, I like it, just it's cool.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah,
it's super hard. I feel like it could come from a place of not hearing, like, obviously when you're like, dude, it's dope, and he's like, it's whatever. But like, I feel like if more people, were responding to your work, and if you posted more, but like, you know what I mean? Like if more people were like, dude, this is sick, you could gain that confidence and really just own it, because you know, I feel like back when I first started filming, if nobody told me I was good at it, I probably wouldn't continue.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
I super agree with that. But I don't know if you guys can relate where the compliments can only go so far. You know what I mean? It's when it starts to become like a self thing where you're like everyone's saying positive stuff, but I'm still just not feeling it. Not to discredit what they're saying, it's just something bigger. You know?
Totally related. Well, yeah, that's little sideway too with that,
Right.
because it's like we're trying to get to that next level, trying to advance to maybe sometimes too we're seeing that like perfect end result, and we're like, oh, but it's not that yet, so we can't even own up our successes along the way.
Right.
It's like we have to like acknowledge where we are in the moment, and that is a success, or we're doing our best with what we're given in this moment, and not always looking to that like glamorized end result. That's
Right.
maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, looking to what it could have been if you had this. or
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. 'Cause I always feel like if we had like an office or something, you know what I mean? Like it's always
It
like
will happen someday.
even this
gonna
podcast,
happen.
like we're recording this podcast in my apartment. I wish we had a spot where it's like own designated. This is it. We don't
Right.
have to like set anything up, but you got to go through these kind of moments and these trials to really
Right.
build up to it.
Totally. Yeah.
You got to get to that mental place,
Yes.
mental space. I mean,
Mental space and mental stability.
right. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about is the anxiety, because we both gone through some crazy stuff, but like
Oh, show.
I know with you that's been something that created a blockage for a minute.
Definitely. Like driving over here too, it's like I had a little light come on. Maybe that's because today was a decent day. Like I had
Right.
some stuff in the positive, in a positive direction. Like
Yeah.
I'm very influenced by like, things in the moment. If it's like when something is going great, when something is like, then it'll, I'm like, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good, bro.
It's a tough topic.
I'm trying to stay on topic as much as possible. I'm trying not to get too off topic, but yeah, basically it's like I've done a lot of this year, especially I've done a lot of like just soul searching, and it's like, what do I really enjoy doing with what I've been doing so far? What do I want to keep in that moving forward in that direction, and what do I want to change? And it's like I have determined I love working for myself, kind of being in control of my own projects and clients and things of that sort. But a lot of like the anxiety that has come with that is because it's also I'm completely in charge of my stability or lack of stability. It's like I have to be on and continuing to gain clients and work to get to those next steps. But then it's like that's the same anxiety that can put me in a downward spiral
Right.
that makes me want to do nothing at all.
It's that weird cycle.
Yeah.
It's so weird of anxiety kind of helps you as far as like I need to get my stuff together, but then it can shift on you, like you were saying, and just like make you just want to lay in bed and just like not do anything.
Yeah, and it's a creeper too. It's slow and steady. That's what I like realized this year. It was like, little things that I was like noticing, like, okay, I'm maybe a little hard on myself, or a little like, feeling a little down about something, or the progress not being what I thought it was going to be or whatever. But then it's like they kind of creep in, and then it builds up before you know it. It just knocks you out completely, and it's like
Right.
you gotta stay motivated and find a way to stay motivated when you do hit those lows. Like
We're all still figuring that out.
I know, right?
already.
Like don't let it get you down to where you can't get back up.
Yeah, the hardest part is that how I view it. It's like when you are at that level, you want to kind of fake it till you make it. Like even if you're feeling so much anxiousness or depression or whatever it is, but you kind of want to stay true to your soul. You want to make sure that you're refueling your soul. Like you don't want to overexhaust it to where you just keep sinking and sinking even more. Because
Exactly.
you can't please everyone. And I think that's a lesson that I learned, because before my anxiety, I was like, what does that do? Free photo shoot, free this, I got you.
Totally.
Peace, love.
Totally.
I'm still about that, but like going through it kind of opens up your eyes of, man, like it gets exhausting. Like I want to be there for everyone, but it's cliche, but it's like you got to take care of yourself first.
Completely.
And it's facts.
Yes. And that's the thing though with being creative, because you get wrapped up sometimes in like the excitement of just a creative, like a project you want to do because the enjoyment of doing it. But then we're at this age and you know, in our jobs or careers where we are now, where we also need to make a living. So
It's way more real.
you have to balance the like, I really want to do this because this is gonna be fun and this is gonna be a cool, you know, artistic project or whatever. But like, is it gonna pay any bills?
That is true.
Yeah.
So
Being an artist is like I hate saying artist, but I love it at the same time. But being an artist is really challenging because you have to be in your head in order to pull out the craziest stuff. But sometimes you want to be able to take a break from being so deep,
Totally.
and just appreciate, you know, stuff that's on the surface rather than like, I mean, what is a lemon? You know what I mean?
why do we have to think so deep about everything?
Yeah, a lemon is, yeah. If you put lemon in water, I mean, we don't do that.
No.
No lemon in the water.
Oh, that's all me.
You're getting better at it though, because like recently I remember it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. You were just like, I'm not working today. Like I
Yeah.
need to have a day off. And it was like a Friday, so it's not like that big of a deal. But it was like, I'm so proud of you for doing that because it is needed. And
Because honestly, before, Elm's up here like hustling, grinding, and when I see that, I always feel like I have to match. Not to compete, more of like my brother's grinding, I need to grind too.
For sure. Yeah.
But sometimes even that pressure was like, you know, bringing me down even more to where like I'm sure he can sense that energy,
Yeah.
but he's just like, I'm just over here, but I'm just
I
like,
could tell when you're having a bad day.
You're forcing it.
But I told him, I was like, bro, like, because Elm's been there. Like, I broke down in front of him and, like, bawled my eyes out and just like, dude, I don't know what's happening. It's gotten a lot easier. Like, it did happen last week. And I texted you, like, dude, like, you asked me how I was doing. I was like, it's been a tough, like, I was going through it.
we still got to talk about that later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But, like,
sure.
I was like, I just need to get out. So I went to the studio, Jules' dance studio. And we were, like, FaceTiming still.
Yeah.
Like,
What's weird about it though too is once you acknowledged that you needed that time, you almost shifted back into your normal self.
Right.
Because he told me, he was like, I don't want to fake it. Like I don't want you to, or I don't want to be here and faking, you know, working hard or whatever we're doing.
because I used to do that all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
There's,
And I could tell.
Yeah.
But the second he said like, I don't want to fake it. I need to take a day off. And then we sat there for like 20 minutes and talked, and we
Right.
like actually like strategized with like marketing and all this different stuff. I'm
Right.
like, are you sure you're not okay? Like
I
you
think-
seem really
yeah.
normal
I
right now.
I think it was the back of my head of knowing like, okay, I gotta escape, because sometimes in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
in that office, it's just like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like I just like we definitely want an office space. So
But, hey,
Anybody out there?
Anyone-
want to fund
Yeah, right.
3 guys trying to make it?
Yeah,
For real.
pretty much.
but yeah, it's.
That's oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's cool to have like a supportive circle like this
Triangle.
for right now. But everyone else, you know who you are. Shut up.
right. No, but that's to bounce back on like you having to take some time to kind of just get away from it all. That's what I've learned more in the recent months too. It's like finally, I guess, kind of let go, because like you try to keep it all together so long, and like I said, whether you're faking it for yourself or for others, and you're just trying to stay sane or whatever. Like sometimes it actually feels great when you just let go of everything, all of it, and then you just pick up the pieces that make sense in that moment. And
You know who does that really well is Krista.
yeah,
Shout
she
out to
does.
Krista, because she's the type to be like, I'm gonna like literally just off social media, everything else, and just read and study. And I'm just like, how do you do that?
Yeah, and she maintains sanity while
Right,
doing it. You don't have to
right.
hit that low to you just when you kind of need to shut down, you do it, and then you come back up.
Right. And that's the bonus, because like everyone does need that break, and it's always a bonus when you see them, everyone, because we all been in that slump, come out of that, and they're just like ready.
Definitely.
Because to me, that is the grind.
Yeah.
Like if you're, because that's a warrior. Like if you're able to go through that kind of fire and know that you're in that fire, and then come up strong and keep working, and then fall back again and keep, that's like, not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, it doesn't defeat you.
Yeah, it doesn't defeat
completely.
you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then in the beginning, I kind of asked you, like, what are your goals? is there a definitive like this is what I want to do? Or are you kind of wanting to keep that broadness of like selection?
For sure. I'm coming to a place where I feel like I need to start honing in on something because it's been broad for so long. So I don't want to lock myself to something completely, but just trying to figure out. Wow, I just pulled a blank.
Would you like working like on Home and Garden? I can't even talk. Home and Garden channel, is that what it is?
Home and Garden.
HGTV.
Yeah, isn't that Home and Garden?
Yeah, Home and Garden channel.
Yeah.
HGTV. Yeah,
Would you like want to show?
for sure. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. No, I had to.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
I see you're going with that.
Hey.
Okay, so yeah, like I've looping back around to kind of what I said earlier as well. I've done a lot of things that are it's like I'm in my work clothes, my holy pants, my paint splattered shirts. I'm just kind of bumming it,
Right.
creating things that again I enjoy the process and I enjoy seeing that that after like when it's done, it's finished. It's you see the greatness of it. That sounds horrible.
No, that's
The
I feel it.
greatness of it. But again, it's kind of like the behind the scenes and the grungy part that I don't mind doing at all. I don't mind the down and dirty of it, but I also like having worked in cosmetics and having kind of this interest in media as well, and being in front of the camera. Not to sound cocky at all, but it's just I feel like there's a part of me that doesn't want to just be not seen, not
Right.
acknowledged, or I'm acknowledged for my work, but not for the whole.
So are you a fan of like the makeup tutorial videos, or you're just like over it?
I'm over.
Are you?
What?
I don't know anything about it.
They have. I don't know. I think again though, it's like because it's a bandwagon. Like everybody's doing it.
I feel like it turned into the YouTube challenge stuff.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
my
yes.
boyfriend's gonna put on my
Yeah.
makeup now, or like, you know what I mean, or like we try to do it blindfolded.
Try-
It's like, guys, like,
how can we make this interesting? It's been
Yeah.
done a million times, and how can we still make it interesting?
It's almost
Yeah.
like a travel video.
whoa. Well, no,
Yeah.
it was originally, I feel like, started out. Not that I know a bunch about these videos, but it felt like it was like instructional, like tutorial, like here's how you do it. But now it's just like entertainment.
Correct.
You
Correct.
know?
Now it's how can we make it so unique and weird and different to like get views this week or
Yeah.
The bonus of it though is like you do start seeing different personalities.
for sure. Yeah.
You know, you start to like, what's James Charles? Is he's like what does he say? He says
Sisters.
Yeah. Or that's probably the only one I know. But like you start to like fall in love with not necessarily what they're doing, like what kind of makeup, but just who they are, which I'm always a fan of. I think that's pretty cool of like you enjoying. You have that personality. I feel like people like were to see you, they'd be like, oh, Seth. He's terrible, but
Hey, accurate. 1 star on Yelp.
All right. No, but because sometimes I feel like that. I'm always like, bro, like sometimes I like to be behind the scenes, but I wanna do my moonwalk or something. I wanna like do my crump interpretation or something. Yeah. I was gonna say, don't attack me, crumpers. I'm sorry.
Leave that one right there.
We have a lot of crumpers listening to the
Yeah,
podcast.
I respect y'all.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, I had a thought and it flew away. Well, but yeah, I got you. We'll leave it with that.
I remembered what I wanted to ask you earlier, which is crazy. What started, like, what got you into what you're doing now? Like, where did it start?
Like the Seth we know now, or like just like
I think it's just like your journey of like,
Yeah, what's your origin?
What's your origin? Like, where'd you know what I mean? Like, did you pick up a wrench and go like, or like
You pick up a wrench.
You know what I mean?
I want to do makeup.
beat your face.
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where did it all kind of begin?
Well, my very first like job that really inspired everything was I was a senior in high school and I had not worked at all yet in anything,
Right.
I was at that age where I needed to get a job, and but I basically was referred by my mom. She went to a little salon down in downtown Sassoon. Or actually, it was just opening, so it wasn't even a salon. It wasn't started yet. But she was moving from her home to a spot, a business front, and she didn't have a huge budget, but she wanted to do some things to the space to make it cool and open up a new shop. And my mom was like, oh yeah, I have a son who, paints, does stuff. Like he can paint for you. And, introduced me to her. And, like right away, like it was just awesome. I was like, wow, like, when I think I was 16 or 17, probably 17 at that point. But, for me, that was like a huge, like this blank canvas, it was really just mainly painting at that point. Though I did a little lightweight remodel in the bathroom. I did like a little mural, and at the time that was like huge, but also, and it was great because it helped me out. It helped her out. But it opened my eyes to like, oh, I really like this stuff, just creating. And then my second biggest job at the time was a referral from her, the lady who owned the salon. It was a good friend of hers. That ended up being the 5-year whole home remodel I did, starting at 17.
Jeez,
That's insane.
And it was a crazy progression of how like this, she just trusted me, and she was a very artistic individual too, a very artistic thinker. She was very just open-minded. So she kind of let me have creative freedom in her home. It was a lot of collaboration, too, of like, she kind of wanted this, but then she let me at the end of the day kind of just create and do.
Right.
Like I wanted to like, I just felt like one day I was like, oh, I want to like learn how to do an arch, like in a doorway, and like, so she's like, oh, we'll do an arch. So I did. Like I just framed it out, did the chicken wire, did the layers of stucco, sanded it, textured it, and then voila, there was an arch.
that's awesome.
That's so cool to have that kind of like
Support.
yeah, especially in your home.
As
like,
we're talking about arches.
Yeah.
Arches.
Yeah.
but like to get experimental within an actual job, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Rather than like, no, that's not what the blueprint says. Stick to it. It's like, no, like you want to try it out, go for it.
Totally.
That's
And
wild.
which maybe when we talk, like I literally have these aha moments, like in the moment, like you're like, oh,
Right.
that maybe makes sense to something else. But maybe that also stems to where I am current day to why I have trouble with structure from external sources, because I mean, like I had my first experiences in the work world were kind of like me calling the shots. Like, I mean, as far as like, here's this blank slate, like create, like do your thing. It was always a joy. I enjoyed doing the project. I enjoyed going to work. And there was lack of that like boss man structure. And so I know that is something that I struggle with.
Yeah.
Current day, because I like the creative freedom.
Right. And that also kind of makes sense of with you saying, you want to be behind the scenes, but also in front too.
Totally. It's that balance of,
Right.
I want to call the shots, but I also want to create the shots I call.
No.
So it's like, I kind of want to do it all, but well, don't we all? But I mean,
I personally love having Chris as a business partner. I'm okay with him taking half of the work.
Thanks, man. Likewise.
Yeah, absolutely.
business partnership, what a concept.
It's
cricket.
Well, dude, I mean, if I could have done it, I probably would have, but I feel like us two, working on this together, I feel like we want to be where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
if I was
for
just by myself,
sure.
or if you were by yourself.
Right. It's a working unit. That's why I always ask, like, could you see yourself partnering up, or would you rather like take that lead of like, I'm team captain, and whoever is down to help and doesn't want to be captain, they just kind of want to, be your worker. Would you like bring them along, or?
For sure. No, I feel, I would have to find the right, individuals, and, they would become friends. I'd want
Right.
to have a relationship with them. I feel like everything needs, to be, I never want to be, like I've told myself this now to make sure it doesn't happen. I never want to be a slave driver, for lack of a better word, like
No, I feel
where,
it.
like I want everybody to kind of be a part of the process equally, and everybody can voice their opinions, and I don't want to be the say all end all kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also I have trouble right now with having, I'm very structured with myself. I'm very particular with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So let alone letting somebody else in and kind of like having.
And plus, this is the beginning stages. for
Totally.
you. It's like, I
Yes.
feel like once you reach that level and then you bring them on, it's like, it's dope because you're
Correct.
at a point where you're able to have that voice rather
Yes.
than I feel like that's the issue now too. There's cats that are out here like doing workshops, and you only,
Just started
you
6
just
months
started
ago.
and you're doing a
Yeah.
workshop.
You have to have the credibility. You have to
Yeah.
have the reputation, the buildup of a reputation. And
I love the confidence. I'm
For
a
sure.
fan of how confident you are in wanting to do that, and I do appreciate them bringing collective artists together.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's just not needed at that time frame.
Yeah.
Like you need more under your belt, and then be able to like teach.
What I was gonna say about like you bringing somebody on, I feel like it would make so much sense if you found somebody that just matches how you work so well, kind of like how we have it. Like if he edits a wedding, nobody's gonna know that he edited or I edited it.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Same style. And
Yeah. So if you found somebody where you could go like, hey, we need to do this, and you fully like know they're good. Like you don't even need to like look it over.
Yes.
Because like imagine if I tell Chris like, oh, I need you to work on Seth's promo for the podcast, and then I'm over there looking over like, change that. I want to
Right.
do it like that, And so when I just tell him or he tells me something, we just both know we're
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah.
like, we'll
Yeah.
step in and
Fixes.
fixes and changes here and there. But I feel like you would need to find somebody that you just trust, and it's like good to go.
Yeah, because I'm not one who wants to micromanage.
Yeah.
So that goes into that. It's like and that goes into I think the confidence thing too. As far as like I know what I want and I know what I'm capable of and all that, but I don't want it to be the point.
You know what?
It's
I'm
kinda
gonna
hard to
call you
explain.
out.
Yeah, call me out.
I'm gonna call this man out right now.
Call me out.
Oh no.
Do it.
Are you able to like let people know how you feel?
Heck no.
I was gonna.
Did I just contradict what I said?
I thought you were gonna say heck yes, because I'd be like, even for the littlest thing, like Seth, are you hungry? Nah, I'm fine.
You do that too.
I know, but like I'll tell you. No,
You
like I
kidding
will
me?
tell you. Like if, like, but like no one calls me out. See,
Yeah.
I will call you.
You will
out.
call me out. Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
do that all the time. That is true.
Hey, bro, like, or like, if you don't like this, like, you can let me know. Because I feel like once you get close to someone, if you ain't like letting them know, you're just hurting them. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta just be like,
be honest and.
But we do we make the best videos in the whole entire world, so there's no room for
yeah,
you
you
to say
guys
that.
We're the best.
We have no imperfections. Not one. No, I'm just joking. No, but
That's a good point.
because I have that I have that issue too. There's just like this literal like roadblock of when like I catch myself wanting to be honest, but then I don't. In my but
It's
then
because you want to please everybody.
but now I'm able to like kind of be like I can speak my
No,
mind.
I can say no now.
Yeah.
I
Did you see how he
think-
looked around the room?
No,
I'm
yeah,
fine
right?
now.
No, but I can speak my mind now, and I have.
You are getting better. I've noticed that. You're getting better about it. You're more aware.
Yeah.
Like when something maybe isn't like working, you're like, I feel this way about this, and
Right.
I can confidently say that.
Right. Because I don't. It's probably just because I haven't had any issues with like someone. You're always killing it. So I'm never like, what the heck? I'm like, yeah, my dog over there. Ruff, ruff.
That's the weirdest thing you've ever said. I have like a thought. What would you tell your, maybe not your like starting out self, like 16, 17, but what would you say like middle of the road? You know what I mean?
We're going flash. We're going timelines. Like
Wait,
it.
what would you
This
tell
is the
your
conversation.
youngest self?
Yeah, but like, what would you, what do you know now that you would tell yourself back then? Like, bro, you're good, or like, you know what I'm saying? What, like, is there anything that? Oh shoot,
That's a good
Ooh, that's
question.
do you
deep.
have something?
I like that. That's a good question. Are we all gonna answer that?
I think we all should answer that.
That's
Okay,
a good
let's-
question.
yeah, let's do
We
it.
should answer
Okay.
that.
I'm gonna go last though, so I can think about it.
You get the vibe.
Yeah.
Probably to enjoy the moment and the process, like in the moment. Each part to your you growing in your craft and your career and yourself is all it's a step process. So like respect each part of the process and don't hate on it. Like when go ahead.
But knowing that version of you,
Yeah.
like that younger self,
Uh-huh.
would that younger self take your advice?
Cause I'm my own.
Were
worst
were
critic.
you like stubborn back then?
Oh heck yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So like, I'm not even gonna listen to
Yo.
the future me.
Can you just bag on yourself real quick?
Yeah, no, because I am a perfectionist,
Right.
and sometimes beyond reason with myself.
Right.
So it's like I'm always like it's not good enough. It's not good enough for myself. I'm not good enough for myself.
Right.
And that goes beyond everything from just how as deep as self-esteem and self-image and how I see myself. It's like
Right.
it all it's all there, and you put on that front that everything's great, everything's dandy, but it's like we're still working on that.
Right.
But anywho, back to that question. Yeah, it's just like see the process through. Like don't get so discouraged when something like when it switches gears a little bit. Like keep pushing. Keep and there have been things I know I have let certain maybe dreams or goals or whatever kind of fall to the wayside because it didn't come to fruition that moment. But it's like, no, like be persistent, maybe do some of those things that now indirectly I have seen them come to fruition, but it's like maybe I could have gotten there quicker without like
Yeah.
letting it just go because of the being discouraged and all that jazz.
I like it. Chris, what would you say?
Man. Whatever I would say would mess up the timeline, so I wouldn't be here.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
just joking.
No, that is a very true. I respect that.
No, but I think the only thing I would say is stop overthinking and stop worrying. Just live, because getting, like I said, creatives tend to be in their mind a lot. It's a benefit and it's a flaw, and when it's a flaw, you hold yourself back a lot. So I would just say, chill the heck out, my dude, and you have what it takes. Just be free.
You said this like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's all I want.
I would. I feel like everybody's the same, but I would say don't worry about the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm kind of speaking to myself now,
Right.
but I felt like I've always kind of had this like weight on me,
Okay, let's spice this question up a little
Uh-oh, here we
even
go.
more. Let's say our future, let's say this really does happen, and our future selves come up to, they're knocking on the door right now,
Oh shit!
and they're
boy.
like, "Stop this podcast stuff, get out there and do something." No, but like if they were to like give us advice, would you take it? And not knowing not knowing their result, you know what I mean?
But when you look at this yourself, for a fact it's your future self.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
you would
I
would take it.
No, I would actually ask, "Are you happy now?"
Uh-huh.
Because if they're happy now, then
Right.
so be it. Like whatever trials you had to go through to get to that place, you're happy now.
Right.
So why would I try to change that middle
For
part?
sure.
It's trippy.
Yeah, that's a mind thing.
And I feel like now we're not deep now. We're just getting really like,
No, because
Whoa.
on the episode, like I'm gonna talk about the Flash real
oh
fast.
gosh.
But dude,
I'm
it's
gonna head out.
no, it's super like relatable. So right now in the timeline, Barry's daughter from the future comes and says, like, "Dad, you were the greatest. You're the legend." Barry's not at that level yet, but she's like rooting him on.
Uh-huh.
And towards her mom, she's like spiteful, like, "Mom, I don't like you because in the future, you're like this and you're like that."
Whoa.
But she's like, I'm not like that now.
Yeah.
But she only sees her as the future,
Uh-huh.
Like, how'd you get there from?
right? So that like, it's so like,
Whoa.
whoa, dang, 360 camera spin, that 70 show.
I feel like now this podcast just turned into like a book club,
I know.
but for
But
like,
legit, Chris and I go here all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
We have
Just
these
like,
if
what?
people heard our conversations, sometimes they'd be like,
what?
No, but I think like that's an artist, like it's an artist or a pothead mindset, but like mainly it's an artist mindset of like that curiosity of like, it makes you think, it makes you create, it makes you like, oh, what if I do twist it a little bit, like go this realm? But sometimes making those twists, people get so confused. They're like, what were you trying to do?
What was the point of all that?
Like Lori,
What? I loved Lori.
but not a lot of people understood Lori. Well, no,
hey,
most
that's
people
their
did.
problem.
I feel like you guys understood it because you guys were
I feel like you were more in tune with the song
Uh-huh.
than other people were.
right.
You made it.
You listen to the lyrics.
Right.
You made it your version of kind of what you thought the lyrics were, or that was one rendition of what the lyrics could have meant.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I feel like if you had it, like, back to the whole, like, if we had more,
Right.
I feel like if you would have had a little bit more
Have been too
resources, no,
Oh,
I feel like people would have understood.
much. Right.
I don't know what that would have been,
Right.
but if you could have actually shown, like, him in a rocket ship or
Right.
whatever it
The
may,
production value.
whatever, yeah, if there
For
was
sure.
something there,
Where were you? You didn't build a spaceship.
what the heck?
I'm sorry. I was getting my nails done.
Priorities.
This is a good place to end the podcast.
All right. All right, Seth.
Just walk out my appointment.
See you later.
Leave. No. But what a pleasure.
Dude, thanks for, like, saying yes to this.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Do you have any advice for us? Be real. Come on. Okay, let's put pressure.
Advice. Oh my gosh. Pressure.
From an outsider's perspective, because we're over here like, we're a radio host. We're so good. But we're
From an
not.
outside perspective, like on classic, like, well, I just have seeing where like you were as an individual, and you know, both when I first met you,
Right.
and like not being classic, and just like seeing the progression of like the shooting in your garage, literally like hanging up a sheet and
Yeah.
like headshots in your garage to
Yeah.
like, I mean, like, look at this mic setup now. Like,
Yay.
no, but
I could have done that. We could have done that in the garage.
This cost us like $30.
Target. No.
Yeah.
But no, just seeing the progression of you guys, like getting an idea, running with it. Like for me, that's inspirational because I overthink things so much, and I like have to like see it through in my head before I take action. But you guys, like, you got your idea, you got your inspiration, you took action, and you ran with it, and you're running with it, and you're taking some risks, and like that's smart. That's not risks that
They are
gonna.
They are risks.
I will say this just to inspire you even more.
Oh, perfect.
We've had this idea for like a really long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it took us a lot of like thinking and honestly, I mean, I don't know, getting into the podcast side of things, you know, our industry, I guess, like not everybody's watching this and going like, this is for me. So
Right.
that is the risk, but we didn't say like, we're going to do a podcast. And then the next day we did it. So
I had an epiphany, and this is me being super transparent. This is a conversation I had with Marjani. Shout out to Marjani.
Marjan John.
We were on the phone one time, and I was like, "Yeah, like the podcast is cool, but like, if we gonna do like, you know, substance, basically, like you want to talk about substance, you don't want to waste people's time, you want to, you know, kind of bring knowledge out there." And then Marjani was like, I was like, "Yeah, we don't need like the crazy setup. Like this is like not a lot of people do this,
yeah.
especially how we're just like chilling and doing it."
Yeah.
This is a Hollywood studio, by the way. The walls push back when we
No.
hit.
Yeah.
But the thing was, by you just saying that reflected something in my mind that even my dad said is, if you're gonna do it, do it.
Yeah.
And you know, this is full out.
Like commit to it.
Yeah, commit to it.
Yeah.
You know, granted, I'm not giving advice to like go out, spend money.
Yeah,
but
because
like,
we have the means, because we
Yeah,
already had the
exactly.
cameras, we already had the tripods, we already had the lights.
So if we're gonna do it right.
yeah,
And you did it right.
well, we did it.
You guys
right.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody like wants to reach you or see your work, like where do they go?
So I currently have a spot in downtown Fairfield at Pieces of Time West. And I'm not always there, but I have a spot there with product. And soon to have business cards there. So you can get a hold of me that way. But
Nice.
yeah, come see me and the store. Downtown Fairfield, Pieces of Time.
Please check him out. We went there a couple of days ago.
So cool.
It looks awesome, dude. You did great.
We have big plans for it. So it's if anything, come to see the progress of it.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, man. Great having you on the Atlas project.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.